The State of the Industry series this summer has aimed to shed light on what's happening in different industries for people who may be looking to enter into those industries, and for you as panelists to provide advice on how people can best move forward. So today, as you all know, our focus is on the accounting industry. We actually have a combination of current students that are in attendance today, as well as alumni. And so I encourage everybody to, of course, network with the panelists, with students, as well as the alumni that are participating.
Okay, great. So let's have our panelists introduce ourselves. I guess let's go in the order of Kristi, then Lexa, and then Lara, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristi Tarantelli. I am in Human Resources for Insero and Company, and I am located in our headquarters, which is in Rochester.
Lexa, I graduated in 17 and 18 with my master's, and I am located in Rochester as well at EFPR Group.
Hi everyone, I'm Lara Kanefsky. I'm a recruiter with KPMG. I graduated with a major in business, actually at a smaller school than Ithaca called Muhlenberg College. Been in recruiting for about 8 years and 3 years at KPMG. And I currently recruit for for Ithaca, Geneseo, NYU Law, and a couple of our tax groups.
Great, thank you and welcome. So to kick things off, our first question will be, how has your company changed during this pandemic, both temporarily and what might end up staying? What might be permanent with these changes?
So with Insero, we were kind of fortunate that last year we actually implemented a work from home program. So we kind of already had a feel for what it was like to work remotely. Our program prior was just that accountants could work from home up to 2 days a week. So definitely not what it is right now, but it kind of prepared us for what was to come with COVID. So currently and since March, we all have been pretty much working from home. We did decide in June to send out a big survey to all of our employees, basically asking if they could go into the office, would they? And if they did want to, what days of the week would work well for them. So with that information, we actually took our seating charts and kind of decided what days it would be appropriate for each individual person to go in to make sure that it was safe for them. So we kind of have a schedule where, so if I wanted to go into the office on any given week, I could go in on Tuesdays. There's nobody around me that's going to be in on Tuesday, so it's safe for me to go in. So we're doing that until December as of right now, and then we're going to kind of play it by ear on what's going on in our communities, and whether it be that we go back to the office for 1 or 2 days a week after that, or if we continue virtual, that's kind of up in the air. But another thing that we were kind of fortunate with is at the beginning of this year, we started utilizing Microsoft Teams. And we kind of got pushed into it with COVID, but it was a good thing. We were on Skype prior, and we decided that Teams had more functionality to it. So it's actually really nice with not being able to go to client sites. We can kind of set up rooms, if you will, on Microsoft Teams. So like audit teams, for example, instead of being at the client site together, they can log into this audit room on Microsoft Teams so that you still have that supervision ability, that they can ask questions, that you don't have to email back and forth all day long, or pick up your phone and call. So it's kind of nice. You can pop in and out of those rooms on a daily basis as if you were at the client. So those are just a couple things that we've been doing.
Still have not learned to unmute myself before I start talking. We have been home as well since March. The one amazing thing about this career is you can work from home. It was obviously a transition for everyone. We used Microsoft Teams as well. So I think the biggest thing for us is basically everything you can do in this career you could do remotely. It's just the communication aspect of it. So Teams is helpful a lot. Just for keeping in touch with people. I guess a big thing was just constant communication of letting people know like what you're doing if you have questions, because you're no longer walking down the hallway and asking people. That was a major thing, like a wake-up call at the beginning, like, what do I do? So I think communication was definitely the largest change, but everyone adapted really well, and you kind of learn how each partner, whoever you're working with, likes to work, whether it's messaging, email, phone call. Yeah, we're actually just started, some of us came back in July, so there's like probably 15 out of like 100 of us in the office right now. So that's where I am today, which is very weird. But it's nice that we're starting to go back, but also if we can work from home if we're not comfortable.
So I'm jealous of you that you're in the office because I'm still at home. KPMG has also utilized Teams. Microsoft Teams is amazing. You can like choose cool backgrounds and share your screen for presentation. So it's just, I agree with, what's been said. It's just such a great way for, all the teams and everyone to communicate, and, you could ping your teammates to ask questions or your manager. So it's kind of helped us move along and get through this weird time. For KPMG, all offices are closed. No one's required to be on a client site or in the office before December 2020. I'm very sick of working from home and I miss my teammates and stuff, but we've been able to manage through virtually having meetings and being extra communicative to kind of keep the whole team morale up. So another thing, so that's temporary. So that eventually they're thinking of maybe putting together a pilot program after Labor Day, maybe slowly integrating a couple people in the office and with extreme safety measures to see how things go. Another temporary thing, change that's been made with KPMG. I don't know if anyone's heard of our Lake House facility. The Lake House it's a $1 billion investment that the company made. It's an innovation and training facility. So KPMG is huge on training. So they created this huge facility where all trainings would take place moving forward, whether you're an intern at any level through partner. You would go to this lake house for training. So this had just opened up and I actually had the opportunity to go there. It's amazing. But now it's closed because of COVID. So, training is still top of mind and we're still, implementing trainings virtually, but unfortunately that facility is closed and will not reopen before April 2021. Some other things that the company has implemented during this time, some changes that this one I don't think is temporary, but we also sent out a survey to all employees to see kind of how they're doing, getting a pulse on, what's work at home been like, how are you feeling, and many people came back, many parents and caregivers responded saying that, it's been pretty difficult with children and, and working as well. So, they've increased backup care uses. KPMG has expanded their network for child care centers and kind of increased that benefit. Just to try to ease the work at home life for working parents. And just lastly, one other thing that they've created that I thought was worth noting is that they, if someone were to get sick and get COVID, they don't have to take any of their personal days. Everyone gets a set of 20 days off that they get to use, and this is permanent. You no longer have to use, you don't have to use your set personal days. If you get sick with COVID, you take the time that you need to take until you're ready to go back to work. So I thought that was a nice way for KPMG to, give employees peace of mind and provide some sort of relief.
Thank you all so much for your responses. It's interesting to hear what's happening in different places, right? Because it is so different with where we all are geographically, also, with employers. I heard a lot in all of your responses about communication, as well as about flexibility, which, I'm sure won't come as a surprise there. But wanted to get your thoughts in terms of how people can build these skills during this time, right? If someone's feeling a little bit stuck, what might they be able to do to build skills? And are there other skills that you think people should be developing for the field right now?
So in regards to communication, I think we're all kind of learning through this together. So at Insero, each person is assigned an advisor from day one. Even our interns have advisors, and I think a lot of people have been utilizing their advisors during this time. If they're struggling with something, that's their go-to person. So continuing to build on those communication skills, even though it's a little bit different than it would be if you were in person at the office. Just trying to be flexible and adaptable to these changes. Again, we're all learning through it together. So, kind of just taking it day by day and finding out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And, that could be a schedule, but I think that now is a really good time to continue working on your interviewing skills as recruiting season is coming up. Practice, start looking into the CPA exams, do some research on different firms, and, kind of find out where you want to be, what you really want to be doing. So those are my thoughts.
I would say take time to communicate with alum or recruiters, whatever resources we have at the school, which I feel like are endless. I think that now is kind of the perfect time for that. I know I've been, even just with friends, you obviously can't see anyone, so I've been reaching out to old friends and people that I not necessarily talk to on a daily basis, and everyone's so open to talking because we're all in the same boat right now. So I think with that, it would be also a great idea to reach out to maybe people you've met in clubs that are upperclassmen and have now graduated and be like, hey, like, how's it going? How was work? Like, whatever, introduce yourself again. I would kind of take advantage of that right now to connect with people and see how they can help you and just catch up with them. And yeah.
And Lexa said, I think, doing your research and, now's the time where you can kind of look and see what companies are, look at different companies, see what you're interested in, see, build your network. Like Lexa said, reaching out to your alumni network, attend these campus events and connect with the recruiters. And just, if you're interested, I know, if you're interested in a specific group at a company, I know, like myself, and I'm sure everyone else, is no problem connecting you with someone maybe within that group. So you maybe a recent graduate who just joined the firm that you can, pick their brain and get more information about what they do. I think it's a difficult time. I think it's hard it's nerve-wracking with everything going on, but companies are hiring. And I think it's just good to kind of keep that positive attitude and just keep networking and doing what you can to get as much information as you can.
Thanks. Those were excellent points of advice. And just to kind of go off what Lara just mentioned, and Lexa also mentioned, connecting with alumni and things. That's something that I really work hard on to do, especially for our school business students. And even though I do work in the school business, it's really for folks, anybody who's in any major across campus. And I know Cheryl also has great contacts with our alumni too. We are always more than happy to help you, connect you to talk to either the alumni and even the recruiters. They're really, really helpful at answering questions, about what that industry is and specifically what their company does and some of the pros of working there. I know Kristi and Lara have been phenomenal at helping answer our student questions. And Lexa, one of our alumni, she loves being connected with students and helping to answer any of those questions. So really, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you with those connections, or you can reach directly out to them. They're not shy. They love the questions. So kind of along the recruiting mention there, how are things going? I know obviously with COVID-19, some companies are restructuring, right? Some companies are facing some extreme hardships. But are your companies looking to hire? And if so, what's that looking like? Is it more for internships, or are you looking at jobs as well?
So we have been pretty fortunate with COVID that we're, still financially healthy. So we are expecting to stay the same as we did last year as far as recruiting goes. So that being said, we are hiring for full-time staff accountants for 2021 in both locations, Rochester and Ithaca. And then we're also looking for tax interns and audit interns for both offices too. So we're in full swing and we're excited to talk to Ithaca students. I do also want to mention that we're going to be doing a Zoom webinar, kind of like a meet the firm, on September 18th at noon. So if you want to reach out to myself or Cheryl or Trina for information on that, we would love to see you on the call and you can learn a little bit more about Insero.
So I am actually a senior accountant here, so I'm not necessarily too sure about the recruiting aspect, but I know that we are continuing to hire. We had people that were already hired for the summer and fall, and they came on board. I believe our Rochester and Buffalo offices are hiring right now. Everything's on the website. If you're interested, reach out to me. I'll figure it out. I can talk to HR. But I think that we're hiring as we normally would. Another great thing about this career. Didn't get hit too hard during this.
And same with KPMG, we are hiring. We're going to be on campus or virtually, but we will be posting positions, within the next week or so. Specifically, within one of our groups, Global Mobility Services, which is within our tax practice, as well as we're still confirming other groups as well, and those will be posted. We're having an info session for that group specifically on September 16th at 5 p.m. So I know I sent those details to Trina, and she has them, and I think she mentioned she'll blast them out. So please come meet our professionals and learn more about that group. We have a ton of Ithaca alumni, and it's really exciting. So yes, we will definitely be hiring this semester.
That is true. Both Kristi and Lara have submitted some awesome information dates. I will be sending them out in an email very shortly to encourage everybody to attend. So hopefully all of you kind of mark those dates on your calendar. I'll also be sharing them with our accounting faculty as well. So you'll be getting reminders in class, and they will also be listed in IC Engage too. So with that, those were the few questions that Cheryl and I kind of wanted to ask and kind of start our panel off with, so that way we have some information kind of going into this. Does somebody have a question they would like to ask?
In terms of, that's a very good question. I'm glad you were able to watch the info session. So are you saying in terms of like a virtual start? Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're still not sure when when we'll be back in the office. It all depends on the state of everything, and obviously safety comes first with everyone. And it's a big company. There's a lot of people that work in the office. So I can't really answer that question now. I think again, no one's really going into the office until, as of right now, December 2020. So I think as they're going to kind of reassess and see, is there going to, is everything okay now? Is there a second wave? All these different things will kind of come into play. Either way, we're still going to be hiring. And even if, it is virtual, it's still going to be you'll still be an associate full time. It'll be, you'll have client work. And it'll be as if a regular associate. It just might just be virtual if that's the case, but that decision hasn't been made yet.
Thank you. Pause for a second to see if there's any questions that come through in the chat. We encourage people to turn on their video and ask questions, but with that said, if you wanted to submit a question privately to me or Katrina, that's also fine, and we'll ask it for you.
While our students are kind of formulating some questions, I have one for each of the panelists. What are your feelings on mentorship, and how many mentors do you currently have? I know, personally speaking, I have a few professional mentors who I reach out to, obviously, to ask about guidance and professional development, and I find that very helpful. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that as well.
I think mentorship, or we call it our firm advisory, is extremely important, especially in this field, because there is, you know, a typical career path that an accountant takes. So myself, you know, I have a handful of mentors that I can reach out to for different types of things. But in regards to our accountants, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, each individual does have an advisor from day one. And that person, you know, is there to help them with any questions, whether it be on a job or just about the firm, helping them get acclimated to the firm if they're new. But they're also helping them with their career development. So they're helping them with short-term and long-term goals, deciding what areas they like. Do they like audit? Do they like tax? Once they decide that, what parts of audit or tax do you like? What industries, you know, do you have interest in working on? So that person is going to be their go-to and kind of their advocate throughout their career, in navigating them and helping them and connecting them to others who, you know, can specialize or help them get to where they want to be.
We have a mentor program as well. So you're assigned a mentor your first day. That's who I actually just started in January here. So this is like, I feel like I immediately went home, but that's who I would go to if I had any like official questions, like changing departments, like whatever. I've also found with working that I have made other connections. There's a few like peers that I have that they're my go-to like quote unquote stupid question people that I'm like nervous to ask anyone else, especially being new, just like software related things. I'm like, okay, like what do I do here? So if you're just starting out or if you're an intern, like definitely find those people, because that's kind of a mentoring thing in a different non-official way. I also have a manager who I do a lot of work for. It just worked out that he kind of became another one of my unofficial mentors. I just think that I work very similar to him, and I know that he does things, I guess, like I would want to do. So if I have any questions about like, I don't know, anything, I go to him. And then if it's like, you know, again, switching from like tax audit or something like that, I would go to my actual mentor. So it's important to kind of find those people, and you definitely will when you start.
Yeah, mentorship is huge. I think it's like the best way to kind of go through your career. You need as many mentors as you can. Similar, I'm at KPMG. As you come in as an intern, you're assigned a transition coach and a mentor. And you know, for me personally, I have like, I think I have 3 mentors. One, I'm in recruiting. I have one that's in audit, just some person I connected with throughout my time here. Yeah, so you know, mentorship is so important. KPMG has a budget for mentorship. So if you log your mentors in the system, they think it's you can go like grab coffee and you can charge it to the firm, because they just want to make sure that you're connecting with your mentors. You know, it just, you typically, people like my mentors are people who are, I have like one person that's one level ahead of me and one that's like 2 levels ahead of me. And I think it's important to choose people who, you know, have been in your shoes and people that are where you want to be, because they can help you get there. So definitely a very important part of a career, and a big part of growing too.
Another thing is having mentors out of your firm. I have some still that I use for my old firm if I come across something not necessarily like technically related, but just something that I want advice on, I guess, that's not in my firm. It's really nice to have those connections outside.
So for Insero, it kind of depends. We do try to match people up based on their personalities, their backgrounds, what their interests are. Your advisor or mentor could change throughout your career. So if the mentor that you are assigned from day one, you know, if 3 years later you decide that you want to specialize in tax and they're in audit, it might make sense to move you to somebody who is in tax to have them as your advisor, but you can also still communicate with your original advisor as well. So again, creating multiple relationships or mentors is important, but ours is kind of dependent again on that person and their background.
Ours is dependent on the group you're in. So we have tax, audit, solutions department, and forensic accounting. So I'm in tax right now, and my mentor is a director in tax, and that's kind of how it works for everyone. If you're audit, your director or partner would be a mentor for you.
So so if you were to come in as an intern in tax, your mentor would most likely be an associate or senior associate in tax. Probably in the same group, someone that also previously interned because they've been in your shoes before. They kind of know, you know, what you're experiencing, what you're feeling. So yeah, most likely in your group, that's the one you're assigned to. But you can have mentors, you know, if you meet other people in different practices. I mean, you can have as many mentors as you want. So that's kind of like up to you if you want to network and, you know, you end up maybe you work with an audit group and you meet someone there that you think would be a great mentor. You can ask them to be your mentor, and you can meet with them as well. So definitely it's kind of up to you in that way if you want to have a mentor outside of the group as well.
So actually at Insero, this is a pretty cool name drop, but we do, you know, it depends on your clients. Every firm has different clients. They're in different industries. We actually do work with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Manchester United, the soccer team, which is a pretty cool opportunity for us. We've had that account for a long time, and our accountants get to travel to Florida, you know, a couple times a year for it. So, you know, obviously sports related there. We've also had other clients who have been not necessarily sports teams, but they make jerseys for sports teams. So again, you kind of have that correlation. So to answer your question, it does depend on the firm and what their client base is.
Firm after you have some experience?
So to be honest, I'm not sure that you would be able to know that information. You know, when interviewing with a firm, they don't typically, you know, give out client lists or information like that. You can certainly ask the question if they, you know, have any, you know, work that they do with sports related teams. Whether they'll tell you that or not, I'm not sure. So that's a tough question to answer. I'm sorry, I can't answer it better than that. Insero, we do have typically a mix of students and what level they're at. We do typically see more juniors, but we have had sophomore interns before. I think, you know, for Insero, it's more about your personality and your fit with our culture. So I would say definitely apply. And if you get an interview, that's awesome. You know, prepare as best as you can and definitely highlight what experience you do have, even if it's not another accounting internship under your belt yet, because that, you know, you could still be in the running absolutely for an internship with us.
What my firm's requirements are. I can look up if you would like me to, but I think that most accounting firms, I would like to say, you're usually junior, senior level when you're interning. Definitely keep looking, keep applying, but I don't know if Ithaca still has the career development program where you have to do the job shadow. I think that's a great opportunity to do with that. And I know I was also having trouble my sophomore year trying to find an internship because they wanted juniors and seniors. So that's something that I did. I tried to reach out to local accounting firms and, other small companies that had accountants that I could shadow. And that also looks amazing when you're going to interview for an internship, because I don't know, everyone always wants experience, and it's hard to get experience when everyone wants experience. So I think that's definitely would be a helpful thing to do. So you can have that on your resume, just that you shadowed someone and what they did and things like that.
Thank you very much.
So for KPMG, I think it depends what you are, what you're interested in. So there's certain requirements for different roles. But I know you mentioned you're an accounting major. So if you were going to get your 150 credits to be CPA eligible, typically you would intern the year before you get your 150 credits. So the goal is, so you come in, you intern, and you can walk away with a full-time offer, and then you finish out your 150 credits, so you're CPA eligible, and then you should start full-time at KPMG. But if, because you're a sophomore, or if you're not eligible yet to intern, there's still so many things you can get involved in from a recruiting perspective. We have leadership programs. We have like all of these events that you can kind of like come in. I mean, they're virtual now, but you can network, you can learn a little bit more. We have things specific to audit, events specific to tax, advisory, and you can come in and kind of learn about each group. So when it's time for you to intern, you kind of know what you want to do, because there's so many options. So it's kind of nice for you to kind of have this time, look around, do research, network, and see kind of where you see yourself and what you're interested in.
Here, just advice from a professor in terms of internships. Lara's right, those programs that KPMG and other firms have are great, but also I wouldn't say that you so much need to be in public accounting at this stage. Working in a bookkeeping role or any kind of role in a business where you see how businesses work and things like that are going to really help you when you get to auditing, and you have to know how costs flow and orders flow and systems flow. So, look beyond public accounting at this point, Ryan. Any work that you can do with a business is going to help you understand accounting better and be able to be more successful in your coursework and be more attractive to the public accounting firms when you get there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and just to go off of that, I think that's really good advice. And you don't necessarily need an internship or you don't have to work in accounting. Like, again, it's working with businesses, or we have people that have worked even, at restaurants. Like, all these skills are transferable. You're dealing with different personalities, you're, managing your time, these are just all skills that you'll need and you can take with you throughout. So, I wouldn't stress on finding, if it's not an accounting internship or this, just get some sort of experience, whatever that might be.
I agree. I think thinking about, the really specific skills that are obviously, going to be required for certain levels makes sense. But the transferable skills truly are developed in so many ways. So I agree. I think that's great advice. For my question, I'm going to move a little bit further back because I loved Trina's question about mentorship. I think it's so amazing that it sounds like all of you have a structured program for mentorship, which makes it really, really helpful for people to be able to engage in. Of course, sometimes it's one of those vague concepts, kind of like networking, like how do I start? How do I ask someone? So it's really helpful for companies to have structured programs. What we know about mentorship a lot of times is that it can help to foster within a company diversity and belonging so that people feel like they have a place, they can, create some strong ties together. My question was, in this light of thinking about belonging in workplaces, what are some other things, if you know of them, within your companies that they do to foster diversity and belonging in their workplace?
So at Insero, we have a ton of different opportunities for, or outlets for people to, you know, if they have interests in other things besides accounting. We have tons of committees that people can be involved in. So I'm actually the head of our wellness committee, and we do events all year long. So anybody that has a passion for wellness, whether it be for the physical activity side, or if, you know, they have a family member or a friend who's sick or has an illness, you know, they can join in and learn about different things with different webinars, 5Ks, stuff like that throughout the year. We have an innovation committee. So the innovation committee is continuously implementing and bringing in new ideas for the future of our firm. And that committee actually, they reach out to the staff members for those ideas. What's working in your role? What do you think could be better? And then they group together and decide, you know, if something they think is a great idea, they bring it to the partner group. So that's a great way for people to, you know, it can be anonymous too, but it's a great way for people to voice their opinions and their ideas and possibly have something go firm wide. You know, in addition to that, we have a marketing committee, a social media committee. I know social media is really big with your generation right now. So it's a great way for us to have your help in actually representing our firm. So there's definitely a lot of different outlets on ways that people can be involved in other ways.
We have a lot of the same things as well. We have a lot of committees. We have a social committee, which is just in charge of creating fun things for us. We have like a kickball team that was canceled this summer, but hopefully next summer. I think there's a softball team, maybe different events like that. There's also a lot of people that work at the firm that are involved in outside things in Rochester. So we're constantly getting emails from partners like, oh, I'm involved in this thing. We're having a 5K this weekend. So we kind of make a team as a firm, and whoever wants to join does. So yeah, there's a lot of different things you could be involved in outside of work.
So same at KPMG, inclusion diversity is really important. It's one of our initiatives. It's how I think we stay successful, having people from different backgrounds and experiences, and it's super important. So we have committees too. We call them business resource groups. I think we have about 7 of them. They're called African Ancestry, Asian Pacific Islander Network, Hispanic Latino Network, Abilities in Motion, a Veterans Network, and KPMG Network of Women. Finally, I've now memorized all 7 of them, but it took a little time. But yeah, so these are all networks. They have meetings. Maybe they'll be around a topic. These are people from all different practices. You can join, you know, as soon as you join the firm. So it's cool because you get to meet people. So maybe you're in tax, people in audit or advisory. You might meet like partners, you know, people of all levels. Like that's another way for you to meet mentors, but it's also a way for you to kind of, you know, be together, work together towards a topic that you're really passionate about. You know, I know for KPMG Network of Women, they had something, you know, a seminar for like new mothers. So they had some sort of meeting where, you know, there's a lot of, you know, with women about being a new mother, and it was a little event for everyone to kind of get together. There's charities run through these groups. And it's a way to kind of come together and feel like you belong, be an ally, and really, you know, be part of, in a big firm, it's nice because it makes it feel a little smaller. So.
That was great advice. Thank you so much. I have another question that I get from students a lot when I'm meeting with them about their resumes, you know, and applying to companies and whatnot, whether it's for an internship or even for a job. And what are some things that firms are looking for at the resume? I mean, obviously it's always nice, you know, to talk to people and maybe conduct those informational sessions, you know, prior to, so you can actually have a conversation with the recruiter, right? Or somebody in charge of the hiring process, but that's not always going to happen. So what are some things that you're looking for on their resumes? whether maybe it's student organization experience, right? Can they work well in a group? Are you really focused in on that GPA or those internship experiences? What are some of those key factors?
So for us, we definitely, you know, you obviously want to have your education on there, what year you're graduating, so we know what level you're at. We want to know any internships, if you've had them before, definitely list those on there. Even if you've worked at a restaurant or, you know, if you're a bartender at school, something like that, definitely is helpful for us. I know Lara mentioned earlier that customer service is, you know, a very transferable skill, and that's something that we look for as well. And then if you are involved in any campus activities, definitely put that on there as well. If you have played on a sports team in school, you know, that shows that you're a team player, that you know what teamwork is all about. So we definitely look for those highlighted things.
I think definitely any kind of leadership skill or experience at all, whether it's accounting related or not. I think like when I see a resume and it's like 2 jobs on there and 1 club, I'm thinking, what did you do for the last however many years? So definitely whatever you want to be involved in, no matter what the club is, just something, even if you're passionate about something. Volunteering, if that's something you like to do, that always is really good. Any kind of customer service job, really just anything that gets you involved is kind of getting you some kind of skill no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much what everyone has said so far. I think, you know, I think we all look for a combination of things. There's not one thing that we focus on. So just kind of having it all there. I mean, I do think, you know, GPA is not the only thing we look at, but I think it's just good to have on there. I think when it's not on there, I think, you know, employers tend to wonder, you know, okay, well, why is it not on there? You know, because everything else is on there. But that's definitely not the only thing that we look at. I think it's a package, you know, team player, having, you know, all of your experiences on there, leadership activities, you know, volunteer, all of that stuff. And just something else. I mean, if you are an accounting major and you are going to get your 150 credits and be CPA eligible, I recommend putting that on your resume. So, you know, maybe putting your, you know, if you're an accounting major, your graduation date, and then put like, you know, 150 credits date or CPA eligible, and then that date. Because if you are interested in, you know, certain audit or some positions in tax or even advisory, that is something that is required for some positions, and that's something that I know we'll ask you, and I know other recruiters might ask you as well. And overall, and which one you should put on there. I guess it doesn't really matter. You could, maybe you could put both, just to show that, you know, you're kind of covering all your bases. Yeah, I've seen both. I've seen one. I think just having some sort of GPA on there. I just think it's you know, you're showcasing everything else, and I think it should just be up there as well.
There are no other questions from our students. I think we'll start wrapping up and maybe ask each of the panelists to give some advice to our students who are interested or are really excited about entering the accounting industry, and any tip or piece of advice you can give to them entering this industry, especially during these interesting times.
Absolutely. So I would just say, you know, really, as much as you can, try to practice your interviewing skills as we come up on recruiting season. If you need tips or tricks or help practicing, I'm happy to help anybody. If you want to reach out to me directly, utilize your career services department that you have. But that's going to be most important. Having confidence in yourself is really what stands out in an interview. Knowing what your strengths are, and knowing a little bit about the firm that you're talking to. Do some quick research before you talk to somebody on their company, on that person themselves. That really stands out as well when you're having a conversation with someone.
I think definitely try to stay as normal as you can, like be, I don't know how to word this, but like do as you would be during school. So like if you are involved in clubs, I don't know what's happening with that right now, but see if you can do it virtually or still attend that virtually so you can still have something that you're talking about, something that you're involved with, something you're making connections with. And then, like I had said before, definitely keep reaching out to people, whether it's recruiters or alumni, just having conversations, seeing how they can help you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that was said. I think, you know, this is a weird time. We're navigating this all for the first time together. You know, so just try to stay positive and just be resilient and, you know, network as much as you can, attend campus events, you know, do your research. I think, again, I agree with what Kristi said, do your research. It's impressive when you talk to someone and they kind of know a little bit about the firm and it's like, oh my gosh, wow, how did you, you know, this is our first time talking. How did you know this? And it's great. It's great. And now's the time where you have that downtime to do that and take advantage of all your resources. Please feel free to reach out to me. I love, you know, I'll set up a time to talk on the phone and we can talk through KPMG or the different groups and, you know, just, I know it's can be hard in a virtual environment, but just hang in there and, you know, just know we're all kind of in this together.
I love that advice. Staying active and just keeping yourself moving forward in whatever ways we have possible right now, right? So thank you to our panelists. We sincerely appreciate your time. We'll be seeing most of you later this fall. So students attending, watch out for those. And again, thank you so much. It's been really, really helpful and a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks for having us, and students, thanks for joining. We hope to see you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Great. Thanks, everybody.